Welcome to yet another video and yet another episode of the Real Me podcast. I was thinking to myself, when am I eventually going to film a video about this? And today I was like, I have to do a video about this. I want to talk about my experience buying oracle cards, um, about my whole philosophy behind that. You know, um, I'm not going to do as many videos in my other podcast, The Best in Frugal, because it takes a lot of time for me to sit and wait for the video to, become a video. It's very time consuming. It takes a lot of time in my day. A lot. And it has become a little bit overwhelming, a little bit too time consuming. So, I mean, I don't know. Um, am I going to have to look into an editing software that doesn't have so much because so that the thing can load faster? I don't know. But you know, I'll see. I'll see. I may just end up doing less because of just how time consuming it is. When I do the transit videos on Fridays, the collective transit and then the transit for the trail of science, I might just film both of those videos beforehand and then put one into the editor and then take care of that. Post it on my channel, then do the same with the other one so that I can just do all the filming then and then do the editing and all the waiting and stuff after. I'm thinking of doing that. I think it's gonna make it a lot faster and it's gonna take up less time, I think, in the day. So I'm thinking of doing that. And plus, you get the videos faster if I do it that way than if I do one and then do the whole process and then do the other one. And, Friday when I recorded both of those episodes, pretty much my whole afternoon was gone after doing both of those. And I was like, wow, where has the day gone? It took up that much time. It takes a lot of time to do these videos, a lot of time. And I'm beginning to feel like it is taking over. I've been feeling that way for a long time, and I just I'm gonna have to find ways of it not taking over. I'm gonna have to see what I can do because I cannot live life where I'm constantly making video after video and taking up my whole life with this. I need to live a more balanced life. I haven't been making the time to do that. And like a part of my soul, like, oh, I want to get back to a balanced life so bad. Rough. Very, very rough. Very rough indeed. Anyway, enough about that. Hmm. Today I wanted to talk about my experience with buying Oracle cards because I have over 100 decks. I've lost count of actually how many that I have now. I'm not going to even try to think of the number because I'm not going to try to make this the perfect thing. Spent a lot of my energy today doing other stuff. This is a place for me to just relax and just wind down and just talk, just share. So I'm going to allow myself the space to do this. So I first found out about Oracle cards when way back in um, July of 2020. I I was watching Deborah Silverman, an astrologer that I follow. I had followed her very closely since 2019. I started watching her videos, and she basically blended astrology and psychology into her approach of astrology. And she talked about it very, very simply and very deeply with all her wisdom of what she has. She's very, very to the point, very, you know, now I have to think that she's surface level because probably because I've to advance my astrology knowledge. But if you're starting off with astrology, if you're a beginner, I would start with Deborah Silverman. She really breaks it down very, very simply, and it was just synchronicity that I started with her. Anyway, she did this summit thing where she talked to these famous people who were writers, who were, athletes and celebrities about their chart and showing their chart and how they became these famous people, how they became these very, very famous stars or writers through their chart, basically, um, through their astrology with their midheaven, planets, their everything. Um, so, um, she was doing that, and then one of the people that she interviewed was none other than Colette Baron-Reid. Colette Baron-Reid is somebody who is very big in the world of spirituality, very, very big with Oracle cards. She's created 2019 decks, which include several miniature pocket-sized Oracle decks, namely Wisdom of the Oracle, Spirit Animal, and the Shaman's Dreams are the ones that I can think of right now, that she's created. Anyway, she is very, very big in the whole industry of creating Oracle cards. Very big. Very, very big. Um, she's very famous for making the Oracle cards prescriptive as opposed to just predictive things. Where the Oracle cards are not to tell you, the future of what's going to happen in your life. They are cards that you can pull for guidance, for wisdom, for advice, for suggestions of things that you need to know and need to consider, and need things to think about to help you be in alignment with your highest good day after day. I mean, you're not meant to, just follow what the Oracle cards are saying because that's really, really disempowering where you're handing over your power to them. And you're not meant to abuse them, asking the same question over and over again, expecting, a different result. And like we can get so obsessed with that. And I did that last year. Not going to do that again. Um, and so, you don't have to follow Oracle cards. You don't have to follow what they're saying. You can just consider what they're saying. And of course, I'm saying this with the consciousness that, oh, I haven't used them in so long and I need to get back to using them. I want to get back to using them. Um, I will use them. Um, just after I do my daily video because that's something that I make non-negotiable. Like I do it, then I have the free day to do whatever because I want to do the video. So, uh, So that's a note on Oracle cards. And anyway, I found her out. She reminded me of a te choral teacher, choir teacher that I did not have. I was unfortunate that she left right before the new choir teacher came in. I made another video about that in the I knew this person before the fame podcast. So you can hear all about that in that video. Um, so I had her for piano lessons, and the way that she talked, her personality, the way that she spoke, very similar to Colette Baron-Reid. So if you follow Colette Baron-Reid and you know how she talks, then this person is very similar to that. Now, I just want to jump to, you know, I joined Colette's Oracle Circle membership back in December 2023. I was there until the beginning of this year, the end of last year, because I was reevaluating and this was not in alignment with my values anymore. It was $22 and there wasn't a whole lot of things available there. There were full moon readings, new moon readings. They didn't do it even for the 12 signs. You could have had um, guest speakers come in, guests come in and do these videos. You could have had, all these, other resources that you didn't have. And I don't think that $22 would be the appropriate, like maybe 10 to 12, $8. That would be more appropriate for Colette's Oracle Circle membership. But no, it was $22. So I joined that. I was on Spirit Jam several times, 3 times to be exact. I was called up. The first time it was June 21st of 2024 when I was talking about um because I was looking at applying for jobs at the time. I was looking into applying for jobs because I was like, starting up a resume. I was, looking into that. So I was looking into what do I need to know about getting into this job and what is the job going to be like and who are the people going to be like and what are their personalities going to be like and what do I need to know going into this job and what kind of job am I going to enter into. So we talked about that the first time. The next time that we had a spirit jam was October, and I could very well well, I'm not in there anymore, so forget about that. I could have done it at the time, but I didn't. Anyway, it's in there for the others to see. It's probably not even there anymore because they get rid of the spirit jams after a year. Mm. Getting rid of that whole worry of it being deleted because they don't even leave the past full moon reading spirit gems. They just get rid of them after a while. Anyway, that was that. I'm not gonna look back. So many things have just been deleted from my life that it's not too big of a worry. Small potato compared to many things I've gotten rid of. But anyway, the next time I spoke to her was October, I think that was the 27th of October of that year. I'm good with dates, and so I was talking about my guilt about deleting things, which I did a podcast on deleting. And when I talked to her about that, my whole guilt about deleting things, she said that I did it to make myself feel safe. I did it to make myself feel safe. I did it to make myself feel better. What she does with these is she has the person up, and what happens is um, you go into Spirit Jam. For the first half an hour, only the people who haven't been chosen get picked. Then anyone can get picked. You just raise your hand up, and then the you know the Maven, as she called it, picks the um person um like through spirit or whatever, and then they get called up. So I talked to her about that, of what went on with that um whole thing with my guilt about that. The pieces didn't seem to go together. It didn't seem to fit and gel for me, which she was saying. It had, like, I was overthinking it is what I was doing. Um and so I was overthinking, trying to think what she said to me. I mean, that's all that I could think of. And then she pulled a card from her new Guides of the Hidden Realms deck, for me to um hear the message of that. It was pretty good. The next time was in February of the last time was February 2025, and at that time I was doing job shadows at the time, and um during that Mars retrograde period, which I'm not looking forward to the next Mars retrograde. That's a tough period. And I'm going to be doing a podcast about it when the next one comes for Virgo to Leo 2027. I'll be talking about that in depth. Because that, yeah, I am not a fan of Mars retrograde. It's like, because you can't win. Person who starts the battle, like, it's like you can't act properly. Like, there's a lot of advantages to the Mars retrograde. There's a lot of good qualities, which I'll talk about with the next one that comes up. But anyway, I was talking about how I'm gonna kind of circle back to this. There's this um channel that I follow that reviewed Oracle cards, and I was compared myself to her, and I'll talk about that later. And she was like, and I was talking about getting Oracle decks, and she said, I told her I had 46 decks at the time, and she said, well, that's enough, and get a diff only calls to you, but you have enough already. And I didn't feel like I had enough because I was just so depressed, and I was just so obsessed with getting more and more cards at the time. I'll get there. Anyway, I just want to start with that. So back in the summer of 2020, I found her. I looked her up on YouTube, and lo and behold, she did have a channel where every single week she did oracle readings. Like, she did a collective reading for every week where she had cards pulled, and you pick a number between one or five, whatever, and you pull a card. She was in her house at the time. And then um then she'd do an astro oracle reading where she would and she still does it that now on a monthly basis now, where she uh you have your sun, moon, and rising sign, and you basically choose a card that is listening for your sign, and just how the oracle cards tie into the astrology is just so fascinating how this pieced together. So it's for your sign. So their collective energy report for the week. She called them weekly guidance and lesson universal energies. Like, she had different names for them as the years went along. So this is linked to Colette Baron-Reid. This all began with Colette Baron-Reid. So, um, summer of 2020, I found out about Oracle cards, um, at the time. And so I found out about Oracle cards. I found out that she did this Oracle Palooza virtual thing. Um, and in my opinion, this thing was over commercialized. She was overselling it, um, over promoting it. It's hard to do this video this late at night. I don't, this is my Taurus North Node Scorpio South Node. Like, ugh, I disrupted my inner peace by just clicking the record button on this video. But oh well, I started it, so I have no choice but to continue recording. So I wish that I just did not do this, but I did anyway. So what am I allowed to do now? Um, so this Oracle Palooza virtual, I may not get to every detail of this, was eventually had 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. I didn't go to any of them, none of them, and there were very, very, profound reasons for why I didn't go to any of these events. Permission to stay up later tonight. I need time just where I'm not doing videos and doing all this stuff, so okay. So shouldn't have done this. But I'm doing it anyway, so here I am doing this video, doing this podcast. Okay, note to self, don't start videos in the evening. Rest, relax, you'll be better explaining it later. Okay, I've learned that. I'm not gonna do it in future. But so anyway, there's this Oracle is a virtual thing. I didn't go to any of them where where she was in this studio and there were all these Zoom pictures like you could get on Zoom and occasionally you would be called up and it would be this big massive room, Zoom rooms, Zoom rooms for this event and you'd be tuning in to her and seeing her with this Oracle as virtual, where you would be pulling Oracle cards, journaling, meditating to try to reclaim your identity, reclaim yourself, heal yourself spiritually, and evolve spiritually. And day one is trusting, the second is becoming, and the third day is claiming. So it's a 3-day event. So, um, I and there were these things that she had called swag boxes, where it would have all these like these fancy things that she would create. It would have her latest decks. Like that was, this is the thing that I was just so upset by at the time. She had everybody use the same deck. It was like you put one deck in the box, like this is the deck to use. You can't use another deck. Well, I wanted to use whatever deck that I wanted to use just to prove that it doesn't matter what deck you use, it's just the spiritual message and the card meaning and the spiritual meaning that you get out of it that matters, really. It doesn't matter what deck you use. Um, but so, she put that in, she put a journal in, a shirt called "Don't Poo Poo the Woo Woo," which is funny. A cup, um, uh, a bunch of different types of things. And she was, hyping, up the whole event in the swag box for it, guilting you into going there for paying $79 to go to this event. Like, she is and a wonderful. She can commercialize things so well. She is a spiritual business person. Um, and she's very much about promoting her stuff. Of course, she doesn't do that as much now on her YouTube channel, but at the time she was, promoting and, you'd like feel like you're missing out if you didn't go to her events. Like, because she would make it just seem so inviting and, it's like, oh, what happened to the simplicity about life? The whole thing about my Neptune, the second house, and the spiritual stuff like oracle cards and spiritual events, that were spiritually based and based on spirituality should be inexpensive or free for that matter. If you're healing yourself and becoming a better version of yourself and working on yourself spiritually, like that should be free. That should be free, not something you have to pay a lot of money for. Free or very inexpensive, let's just say. So anyway, she was promoting that. I did follow her for a while in the summer of 2020. Watched her videos again. At this point, I didn't have any Oracle cards. Watched her videos again in like October, mid-October. I started following her videos, her Oracle card videos. She was in her house and she moved to like a set where she created the videos with her husband, Mark. Um, she created videos with him and she has a Cancer, he's in Aries, makes it very, very clear that, it's him being in Aries. And her South Node is in Aries. So, that relationship is, I feel, is very karmic to have, your South Node in Aries and, her husband's sun sign. But I'm not here to talk about her astrology or anything like that. I don't want to get too in the weeds with the podcast, and I feel like it's already becoming that. Followed her. I actually meditated for the first time in October 2020, which, I found her very healing, very, soothing because I was very depressed about not finishing things and of all my issues that I explained in that 2019 to 2025 Years of Self-Criticism podcast, which you could go back and see. So I followed her, um, throughout the fall, winter 2020, uh, and then into 2021, then summer 2021. And then I became very envious of her, almost jealous of her, because I wanted to have all those decks that she had, that she created. I wanted to have all those decks. I wanted to have all of the decks that she created, which were the Wisdom of Avalon, the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms, the Enchanted Map, Oracle, which there was a reprint of that revised version of that in 2021. The Wisdom of the Oracle of the House of Night, I believe, kind of doing this chronologically. She came out with um the Good Tarot, Postcards from Spirit, the Mystical Shaman Oracle, the Spirit Animal Oracle, which you're seeing here is my first Oracle deck that I got, my favorite Oracle deck that she has that I have that I want to use. The Spirit Animal, the Goddess Power Oracle, the and there's a whole I recommend to you to go see the videos by this lady, Angeli Devine, who talks about her being an Oracle con artist with both the Goddess Power Oracle and the Crystal Spirits Oracle. I have the Crystal Spirits Oracle that I got last year because I was compelled to get it, but I do not have the Goddess Power Oracle. I have most of her Oracle decks in my collection, and I'm getting another one coming tomorrow, which is another Oracle deck completely, which is my first Oracle deck in 2026, which is the um uh Star Codes Astro Oracle. Tomorrow's going to be a big day. Making a video, going to the historical museum, getting things. Wow, big day. Um, okay. So, yeah, I don't want to have this video hanging over my shoulders tomorrow. So, anyway, okay. So then in 2020, she put out the Oracle of the Seven Energies. 2021, the um Shaman's Dream Oracle, which she did with Alberto Villoldo and Marcel Lopez. That was more her thing. The Mystical Shaman was more his thing. Um, so she came out with that deck then, and then 2023, the um the Dreamweaver's Oracle, then her most recent deck in 2024, the Guides of the Hidden Realms Oracle, which she actually started painting, and the deck, the artwork for that deck was her own art that she, you know, created and put in the cards. So I'm not going to get into every little deck that I got and every story. That would be way too exhausting. I don't remember all of them. I don't remember all. It's like I've gotten so many. I lost track of them all. Lost track of a lot of them. So, um, 2021, she was putting on a solstice event for the summer solstice, where she had an astrologer talking about the astrology of the solstice, basically talking about what Cancer season is, what Leo season is, what Virgo season is. She did the meditation in that. She pulled an oracle reading for the summer. She did a water exercise where we put good coloring in the water and see the um uh water um change color as a like a cleansing purification exercise. I didn't know what the point of that was. Anyway, she used the enchanted map oracle and she promoted like the seven energies, and that's when she was starting her promoting her oracle palooza virtual back in the summer. The summer of 2021 was when it all started with me buying oracle decks. This oracle deck that you're seeing right now is the one that I wanted her to use so badly at that time. I wanted her to use it so badly, but she was using this one deck over and over and over, the Enchanted Map Oracle. Every single video, she was using the same deck. It's like, vary it, change it up, use the Spirit Animal Oracle. So I was very, very inspired to get the Spirit Animal Oracle. I got it, ordered it, I think June 25th or June 24th was when I ordered it. And when I ordered my very, very first Oracle deck, it took forever to arrive. It took several days to arrive. The truck was delayed. The package was delayed. I eventually got it on the 27th of June, which usually comes a day or two after. It came several days after. I was very, very impatient for it to come. Anyway, I got it, and then I started reading, and I found out, before, and when it comes to reading, when it comes to getting into an Oracle deck, what you want to do is, you want to read the introduction to the guidebook first so that you know why the author created the deck, what the deck is about, what the theme of the deck is. Like, you don't have to read how to use it, just the introduction. So that's what I did, because I watched videos on how to, get started with your Oracle deck before, and looking through every card to get familiar with that and get your hands into the energy of the cards and get familiar with what the cards look like before you start using it. So I started reading this introduction. I overthought it. And I became very, very obsessed with, um, gosh, I'm already exhausted doing this. Um, hold on, I'm gonna get something to drink. Come back because I need to just give myself the full total space to do this because I'm just feeling like I just want to rush this whole thing. What was I saying? Okay. So I was reading this book and I was reading the introduction to it and I was analyzing this deck that you're seeing right here. I was analyzing in my mind, if I'm not understanding this perfectly, like really feeling how important and vital the spiritual information is. Like, this is the like a holy text, and this is something so important, so sacred. Like, no, it's an introduction to an oracle deck. Okay? That's all it is. You can't make too big of a deal about it. So anyway, I was reading this, analyzing it. Then I read how to use the deck, and then it basically told me what to do, how to use it. Like, and I interpreted it as like, you must do these things in order to really make the most of it and enjoy using it. And it was like, I felt like I was being told what to do. And I felt just drained by it. And I was getting all worked up about it because it's like all these spreads that I had to do. And it was like I wanted to do it. I wanted to do what the guidebook was saying. But then it was like telling me what to do. It was telling me what to do with how to use the deck. And it's like, uh, um, I don't want to be told what to do. Like, I felt, gosh, disempowered from doing this. Very, very upset. I was very, very emotional, very, very worked up about this because I was, basically, um, like, and I wanted to do this in this way, but it just felt like too much. Like I don't want to do this. So I became very, very worked up about that. I pulled my first Oracle card from this deck, which was about shining your light. I don't remember what the card was, but it was one of the animal spirits shining your light. And then I became all obsessed about, am I embodying this card? I have to live this card. I have to follow what the guidebook is saying. I have to literally do what it is saying and live in this way. No, you don't. No, you do not. That is so disempowering with Oracle cards. It is for your consideration. It is just something to think about. You don't have to live your life in accordance to that. Just do what's right. If it's right to follow it, then do that. If it doesn't feel right, then you don't have to. It's like that's what I realized now. It's so liberating to have that mindset. And they're going to want to use it more and find more meaning and value out of it if you're doing it with that mindset. And the thing is to become curious with Oracle cards, to be in a neutral place. Like you don't want to come to Oracle cards when you're all worked up and emotional. You want to come when you're grounded and neutral and calm and curious. It's like being like genuinely curious to find out what message that you're going to get and what guidance you're going to receive. So, um, okay. Um, all right. So, that's what I've learned. So I tried to follow this card and I wasn't feeling this card at all. I was like, oh, I have to be conscious of shining. I have to be conscious of shining my light. It's like, and then I didn't enjoy it anymore. Like I enjoyed the idea of pulling the card, but not the actual doing of it. Guess what? You don't have to do it. Just pull the card and get insights from it and consider it. You don't have to act upon it. Like you have free will in your life. You have free will in your life. Okay? Oracle cards are just there to add more meaning and give you wisdom to your life, add something to your life. They're not meant to, take over and be something that you have to conform to. And that's what I learned about these things very, very easily. So, pulled a couple more cards. A video that she put out July 6th or something, and I was like, I really wanted her to use the spirit animal. I was very, very worked up about that. And I was like, wanting to deny the cards because I want her to use the other deck. And so I bought a couple more Oracle decks that summer. I got the Enchanted Map deck, the new one that came out, which was the one that she was using for Oracle Palooza Virtual. And I wanted to go, but I didn't have enough money, and I was, using another computer at the time, and I was 17 years old at the time, and um wasn't that experience with Oracle cards. I didn't genuinely want to go to spiritually heal myself and get meaning. I just wanted to prove that I could use just any deck and it didn't matter what deck that you would use for that event. So that is the only reason why I wanted to go. That was it. I wanted to take advantage. I felt like I wanted to go because, well, part of me wanted the spiritual meaning, wanted the spiritual insight and profound, healing and all those kind of things like that. Of course, I would need it more now for the past 3 years, and, with all the guilt and regrets that I had, all the things that I feel guilty about doing. Um, uh, Gosh. Hey, lesson. very big lesson right now. So anyway, continuing on. Then got the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. At the time I got my braces on for the first time, I had my braces for from 2021 to 2024, June of 2021 through June of 2024. And I got my braces on for that. And at the time, I kind of had a, Oracle card out before I even got Oracle cards and did like daily readings or whatever, but for just a couple days worth. But anyway, I got the Wisdom of the Oracle, used that. Um, I pulled a card for Colette of what she needed to know for Oracle Blues the Virtual, and the card I got was All That Glitters. And that card is about not being certain, not skimming the surface. Like you think things are so shiny and you're so caught up in the glitz and the glam and the um caught up in the all the stuff, with the whole Oracle Blizzard virtual thing, caught up in the shiny things and the in how good it looks on the material level and how inviting it is and how um good it feels just on a surface level. It's not genuine gold. It's not genuine. It doesn't feel genuinely right. Like if you go beneath the surface, there's some truth here that you're not seeing. And so look beneath the surface and see this truth. See this, this, um, like that's the message of the card, which I think make perfect sense because I feel like she was getting so caught up in all the with how good it was and so, absorbed into herself when it comes to the whole event and how exciting it was and how high her life was at the time. And Progressman and Sagittarius, she had that placement at Progressman at the time. Um, and I felt like she was getting too caught up in that. Um, too, Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Should I continue this? I'm gonna finish the story. Um, hey, moving on to the next point that I want to make. Because I don't want to get caught up in this little point that I want to make. I'm just trying to find the words for it. I shouldn't have started this video tonight. I should not have done this. I should have rested and gave myself a break. But lo and behold, I'm doing this. So This is just not the best of my podcast episodes that I've ever done. But anyway, I've started and I'm not going to regurgitate everything in another episode, nor am I going to, start one story and then just continue on. But like she was, um, not really focusing on what was spiritually meaningful, like was living a simpler life with spirituality and living in a more spiritual way instead of just material event and the whole thing with, her videos that she was doing and all the air and all the, like I perceived her as not dropping in enough with her communication, like moving her hands, talking in a way where it's like just drop in a little bit more, like instead of just the airy thing, which I think is kind of surface level. And I was kind of very, very conscious of that, very, very kind of discomforted that when I was seeing her videos. So at the time when I got these Oracle decks, I thought that they were the only ones that existed in the world. These Oracle decks by Colette Baron-Reid. Um, so um, okay, so then I had three decks by the end of July. Took one on my vacation, showed up. I'm a member. And then August, um, I basically took the pictures of the cards online and made a printout of them on paper, um, which I created my own kind of fake Oracle deck. Um, oh, there's just so much with this. Okay. So I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. So she had well, okay, so there was this deck that I wanted to get, which I didn't want to get because I felt so abundant with just having three decks already. Like I felt good enough, satisfied with just, excuse me, three decks of Oracle cards. But then there was this other one that I wanted to get. So I eventually got it. And then um I was questioning whether or not I should read the guidebook and just go off the card intuitively or just read the guidebook. And so I just decided, well, I'm not gonna even make this decision. I'm just gonna read the guidebook. Oh. I'm not explaining my points as well as I could have if I've just waited to do this tomorrow. Oh, okay, this is my South Node and Scorpio, North Node and Taurus talking. Like North Node and Taurus, like rest and prioritize your inner peace. I'm not doing this right now. I'm making myself suffer doing this podcast. So many details to mention with this. Okay. I can say that I was debating whether I should read the guidebook or just look at the card intuitively, but I did both. I decided to just do both. I didn't know it was a whole decision that I didn't want to go into the details of that. Um, um, okay. So did that, bought that deck. September, I got another deck, Wisdom of Avalon. I was inspired to get that because I asked Colette like a comment saying maybe you should could use other decks that you have besides that one. She said, well, maybe I'll try that. And so she did videos and she did that because she wanted to do it, and so she did that. So did that. 2022 came. I got the Shaman's Dream Oracle in the winter time. Fast forward to what she created. Then I didn't. She had Oracle Palooza Virtual in September 2022 during Mercury retrograde. She schedules her things during Mercury retrograde because she thinks likes Mercury retrograde because it's a time to reevaluate and reassess and reflect as opposed to just the technical difficulties and all this stuff like that. So oh, um uh, it's gonna give you the synopsis and run, and there'll be other videos. Didn't want to go to the Oracle Palooza Virtual because my computer wasn't working, or not my computer wasn't working, but I didn't want to use my new computer. I'm not enjoying doing this, guys. I just want to get off, and I'm gonna get off and do this, and like, I mean, should I continue with this? I'm just gonna continue because I've already started and I'm just halfway through it. Um, I didn't want to use my computer because I had some insecurities about it, basically put. I wanted to drain the energy off of Zoom with it. 2023 came. Didn't continue to buy any Oracle cards then. I bought Dreamweaver's Oracle deck in September 2022. Like at the time I didn't buy all these Oracle decks yet. I bought very, very few over a very short amount of time. But then 2024 came. Ah, okay. What have I done? This is the Real Me podcast, and you're getting what you're getting. And so this is a lesson that I am learning not to make myself suffer through videos. Like, okay, note to self, I will not start videos this late at night. I, at the time, I was getting several Oracle decks, but I wasn't really getting them seriously. Um, I, I, ju- I just want to rest, you guys. So I'm gonna do the Northern Taurus thing and give myself a break by stopping this and leaving it at that. Just because I didn't want to do this anymore. Here, let me just take a drink of water. believe I'm doing this to myself right now. Ah, okay, I will never suffer over a video. Ugh. Okay. Oh, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? You know what? Screw it. No promises, you guys. No promises. Like another drink of water. Okay, I guess I'm stuck between having to finish the story now because I've started it, so here I go. I don't want to make this separate parts. I don't want to finish the story. So I wanted to get she was promoting her wisdom, her Guides of the Hidden Realms deck 2024, which I didn't like her doing. Waited a while for that, over several months, wanted to get it, but didn't come out until June 18th, so I had to wait till then. Eventually got the deck. Then I discovered Wicked Moonlight, which a YouTube channel, should I say, that she reviewed Oracle cards. And this is when I started getting into buying them obsessively and intensely because I was just overwhelmed with all these Oracle decks that she had. It was just an overwhelming amount of decks that it was like there's just so many decks. That so many decks. Um, I was overwhelmed with how many decks. End up getting all the decks. Not all the decks, but a lot of decks in 2025. And then here I am now getting another deck. I mean, what am I to say to this? What am I to say? But I'm not going to make myself do this again at night when I'm tired and when my brain is not as alert as it is when because I've used it the whole entire day. And here I am doing a video telling of this whole story and expecting myself to tell it in a perfect way, and I can't do it. Okay, this video serves as a lesson, you guys. Like, give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a rest. Know your boundaries. Don't, okay, if I have an idea and I'm just exhausted by it and I just want to do other things, I will allow myself to do that. I'm gonna stay up a little bit later tonight because I need to rest and I need to wind down and I need to take care of myself. I've been going at it all day. I've produced two Basins of Google episodes today. I worked today. I've done all that today. I became obsessed with her because I thought that she had all these decks that I wanted. I became very, very envious. Like, I wish I lived her life with all the decks that she had, and I became very, very jealous of her with all those decks. So that I ended up buying so many of them over 2024, the fall of 2024, into 2025, and basically I envied her. I really, really envied her. I thought that she lived a great life with all her decks that she had she had more decks than anyone else on the planet, and um, She was so abundant with her life as I perceived her and very had it all together. I perceived her as being reviewed all these decks. I got all these decks little by little, three to four at a time, over 2024, 2025, summer of 2025. I discovered Alana Fairchild, which is prolific when it comes to decks. She's produced more than anyone else, and I have most of her decks, and they're very, very well done decks. Sorry, you guys. Sorry. Sorry, I'm not in the perfect frame of mind to do this. This is what happens when you don't just let yourself give yourself a break. Um, her decks are very, very long and very, very in depth, and very, very well written decks. So I got those. Then I got a book of that I started experimenting with. Why can't I deliver this message in the way that I want to deliver this message? Why did I do this to myself? Why? Why? I don't want to do this anymore. I do not want to do this anymore. Started using Oracle cards. Started asking the same questions over and over again. Did that. Then I started with the spreads. Got more and more decks. Went into a job. I got money paid for that, and I a lot of decks with that. In 2025, I was obsessed with buying Oracle decks. That was my only interest and fascination was buying Oracle decks because I had nothing else to really feel good about my life and really feel content about. Man. And so I did that. Bought the decks through 2025, 2026. Got a book of spreads, and here I am today. So I am I, I, I am exhausted. I cannot do it anymore. I mean I literally thought I could do this, but I need to take a break. So I'm gonna give myself a huge break tonight. I'm looking at the time. It is 9:30. Well, I'm gonna be going to, I just need to rest and relax and just spend me time and just time where I'm not using my brain and not doing any of that tonight, and then when I'm ready, I will go to bed and then wake up tomorrow morning and do the Lilith and Gemini podcast for my Bastions of Google and spend the day just doing that. And, I want to get back to a more balanced life, you guys. I want to get back to a more balanced life where I am not just making videos all the time, where I am actually doing other things. I am reading, I am cooking, I am watching videos, I am spending time with family. I'm doing all that. Like this is a lesson, okay? I've already said this before, but do not do something and let it sacrifice your inner peace. Don't do something late at night because your brain's not going to be as alert. Like, okay, I am not going to start videos. And I'm not going to go through a video if it's going to disrupt my inner peace. Like, I am not going to suffer through a video when I'm not in the frame of mind, when I don't want to do it. And I'm sorry you clicked on this and you were interested and you wanted a perfect video, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to give it to you because I made the mistake of starting it this time of night. And what you see is what you get. You're going to see the real me, and the real me is that I'm tired and that I'm not wanting to do this. And so this is the complaining me that you're hearing in this video. So here it is. I'm drawing you a pet rock. I'm not giving you what you exactly wanted, but hopefully it is enough of a picture of the story. I'm gonna get off now because I literally can't do this anymore. Um, I'm not gonna be making as many videos. I'm gonna draw a boundary. I will not do videos in the evening because I can't. I am exhausted. Like, you are worthy of resting. This is to say that we're not human doings. We're human beings. We're humans being like, oh, overproducing, overdoing. Oh, like, kind of thought like I kind of had a thought like I didn't want to do this. I just wanted to relax and watch a video and just rest. It's like I'm not gonna act on all these ideas that I have. I'm gonna have an idea and be like, you know what? I don't want to do this right now because I'm tired. I'm gonna wait until I'm in a more stable, calm, enthusiastic place, energetic place before doing this video. Like, I'm going to give myself the space to relax in future and not make myself suffer doing a video. With that, I'm calling it quits. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you on the next episode of the Real Me podcast. Where is the stop button on this?